In this video, I take this old router and do a full install of the OpenWrt onto it. I got handed this by a friend of mine who actually never took it out of the box, so it's pretty much new. Using some old plastic loyalty cards, I prized open the clips starting at the top. Clips at the top were easily open. I did then get some smaller plastic cards to place around the top corners to prevent the clips from closing back up again. So once the corners were secured, it was next onto the sides. The sides were a bit tricky. They were more difficult to get at the clips. Remaining persistent, I decided to just use more brute force, and on doing that it just snapped open. Feared that I did break the clips, but surprisingly all the clips were intact. I now want to connect to the serial console of the router. To achieve this, I will solder some wires to the board. And for those interested, the solder points can be found in the OpenWrt website. I'll provide a link in the video description. I got a hold of some thin wires from some old telephone cables, and I'm using some electrical tape to hold the wires in place. I should say that I do not have much experience in soldering, so having the wires in place does help. Firstly, I will configure my Ethernet interface to have the static IP as shown. I need to install the TFTP server application. The application I'm installing is really just a GUI for the native TFTP server that's already included in the Mac OS. The TFTP server will be used to upload the OpenWrt installation image to the router. The reveal button opens up the share folder. I'll copy the installation image file to the share folder and start this TFTP server on the static IP that I previously created. The Mac OS already has Apache Web Server installed natively. I will use this to host the sys upgrade image. Again, like before, copying the file to the shared folder and then starting the Apache Web Server. Connecting the router to the computer, any of the yellow Ethernet ports, and then the serial interface. Connect to the serial console. So I wanted to get the device in the UART boot mode, and to do that, while the device is powered off, I connected both the boot select and the ground cable together. While holding it, I powered on the boot device, and you'll see the following in the serial console. I can then let go of the wires. Now loading the U-boot by the serial console. You can think of the UART boot as boot selection on your computer. What I'm doing in the terminal at the bottom is I'm streaming the boot code through the serial console, and once that's finished loading, it should execute the boot code. The next step is to boot the install image, and the way we do that is to boot from the TFTP server this time. So this again can take a few minutes. Alright, finally. Next step is to unlock the U-boot, which will allow the device to run the OpenWrt OS onto it. In the next step, because I didn't have a USB stick on hand, normally you'd use the USB stick just to copy the installer file across. I instead used WGET to download the installer file. With the installer file fully downloaded, you can now go ahead and run sysupgrade on that installer file. This will start doing the full OpenWrt installer onto the device. This process will take a long time, so I'll join back with you at the end of the video. I suspected something had stalled, but everything actually looked okay, and then suddenly the flashing light stopped. I think at that time the installation actually completed. The installation seems to have completed. I will go ahead and reboot the device and see what happens and see what we get in the serial console. Finally, all installed, I can now close up the case. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope this video helps you.